We'll chant 10 verses of chapter 6. In the beginning, we'll do the first three Geeta Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Geeta Bhavadveshinim Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Geetamritaduhe Namaha. Shri Bhagavanuvāca Anāshritah karma phalam Kāryam karma karoti yaha Sasannyāsī ca yogi ca Na niragnirna chākriyah Yam sannyāsamiti prahuhu Yogam tam vidhi pandava Nahya sannyasta sankalpaha Yogi bhavati kaschana Arurukshor munir yogam Karma karanamuchyate Yogarudhasya tasyaiva Shamakaranamujyate Yada hinendriyartheshu Na karmasvanushajjate Sarva sankalpa sannyasi Yogarudhastadochyate Uddharedatmanatmanam Natmanamavasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu Atmaiva ripuratmanaha Bandhuratmatmanastasya Yenatmaivatmanajitaha Anatmanastu shatrutve Vartetatmaiva shatruvat Jitatmanah prashantasya Paramatma samahitaha Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu Tatha manapamanayoho Jnana vijnana triptatma Kutastho vijitendriyaha Yukta ityuchyate yogi Samaloštashma kanchanaha Suhran mitraryudasina Madhyastadveshya bandhushu Sadhushvapi ca papeshu Samabuddhir vishishyate Yogi yunjita satatam Atmanam rahase stitaha Ekakiyata chittatma Nirashira parigraha.
Yogi yunjita satatam. The spiritual seeker should constantly unite his mind with the pure self. With this call, the 23 verses dealing with meditation begin in this 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Geeta. It is all a matter of rising to a higher state of consciousness. It is a matter of purification of our mind and coming to experience oneself in a different way, and that naturally leads to experiencing the world around in a different way. Oneself and the world are very inseparably interconnected. How we judge ourselves and how we judge others are very related. If I am very body conscious, if I value myself on the basis of how my body is, that is how I will be seeing others too. If I am very conscious of some particular tastes in me, I would look at others too in terms of whether they have such tastes, such likings, and so on. Now, on a further deeper level, if I have a great inner silence, as I am playing different roles in life, I am aware of something in me which is distinct from the roles, I would also be right away able to see such a dimension in others too. One is the personality, and then there is the self, the pure awareness. So in its fullness, the process of meditation leads us to appreciation of the pure awareness that every one of us is. However, much before such a transcendence of the ego takes place, much before we can say that, hey, I am not this personality at all, I am something very vast, something very different, and the personality is, well, at best one aspect of mine. Personality is just one expression of mine. In this way, much before we could come to such a really great or the ultimate experience, we come to experience, as we meditate more and more, intermediate levels of an inner expansion. A simple example is often given in this context. If you take a handful of salt and put it into a little jug of water, stir it and taste that water, it's going to be very salty. If you take a handful of salt again and put it in a large bucket or a large pond of water, that water is going to taste very different. It won't be so salty at all. Though the handful of salt is the same in the little jug and in the large pond. In the same way, the events on the superficial plane are the same. Some death, some disease, some great loss, some insult, some damage to one's image and whatnot, like the handful of salt. But if one has come to experience this inner expansion in oneself, one experiences or perceives these changes in a very different way. So, let me say that the meditation that Sri Krishna is talking about is a long process of discovering something greater and greater in ourselves. The greatest discovery and the ultimate discovery is of the self, what we show in the chart too as the Om. Om is, after all, a symbol. It's the symbol, it's the written symbol, and then it is a sound symbol too. A sound that is pronounced, that is uttered as Om. So whether it is sound or a written structure, it stands for the highest truth that is realizable in ourselves by ourselves. And Lord Krishna is thus telling us, come on, there is more to you than what you are now aware of. Constantly try to discover that deeper, greater, vaster possibility in yourself. And towards that he gave some tips. Rahasistitaha. Keep yourself or sit in a quiet place, sit in a solitary place. We interpreted this as don't make it a public affair, and we said this would amount to facing ourselves all by ourselves, exposing ourselves to aloneness, as Pujya Gurudev put it once. Expose to aloneness. For time and again we seek a company, we seek some contact. We come home and we want to turn on the television perhaps. We want to lift some newspaper. We want to pick up some magazine. We want to talk to somebody. Or we want to hear to somebody. Or even if we are sitting quietly, in our own mind we are imagining a dialogue. I will say like this, and then she will say like that, and then I will say this, and so on. The mental visualization of duality takes place. Lord Krishna is saying, Rahasistitaha. Watch that and try to come to a state of aloneness. For the plurality is more within your mind than out there in the world. So tackle the plurality created by your own mind and see for yourself the wonderful possibilities that open up before you. Rahasistitaha ekaki, all alone. And of course, this requires a great amount of control over the body and mind. So the word yatachittatma, nirashihi, without getting into fancies about the future, the unborn future. The future is not in our hands, but we have so many thoughts. We think and think and think. So many possibilities are brought to our mind, and many times none of them comes true. Even if one of them comes true, what about all the other thoughts into which we went? It must be a huge amount of expenditure of mental energy, really. Lord Krishna says, for a change, withdraw your mind from this futuristic activity. It is necessary at other time, but as I said, cautiously, for a change. Practice this withdrawal, and for a while at least, try to experience yourself as the quiet awareness alone. Really speaking, the aloneness which was said in a couple of words before, ekaki or rahasistitaha, is never possible with respect to the body, whereas the aloneness is ever present, ever established on the plane of the pure awareness. The pure self, the final observing reality in ourselves, is ever alone, in the sense there is no distinction between the observer in me, the observer in you, the observer in her, and so on. From body to body there is distinction. From mind to mind there is distinction. And plurality is a matter of distinctions. coming into the play. Whereas the final observing awareness in you, in him, in her is absolutely same. And therefore, something that is absolutely same everywhere is ever alone, ever one without a second. So, it is said, nirashihi. In order that I may experience that aloneness, I should withdraw myself from the conceptual I. You see, in every thought, in every fancy, in every imagination, there is a formation of I am such and such. A description of mine necessarily takes place. I am thinking of visiting the Disneyland, let us say, next month. And I visualize myself. I shall be going in this way. I shall be doing such and such rides. I shall spend so many hours. These will be the friends who will go there with me. As I imagine, isn't it true that a picture of myself is constructed in my mind? And in that picture, or with that picture constructed, there are other pictures. Pictures of my friends and anybody else. So the plurality is built, and then what I may gain, what I may lose, whether it would be wonderful or it's likely to be a boring affair, etc., etc. In all these, I have moved away from that basic existence in me where there is no such construction by thought. Time and again we need to see what thought is doing to us. Thoughts and thoughts rise in our within. In deep sleep there is no thought at all. The moment we are awake, we are busy into this thinking process. Thoughts are no doubt a great tool in us. It is through thought that so much is achieved, so much is built. Behind any invention, behind any, let's say, construction, thought. However, it is through thought only that all egoism is sustained. It is through thought that we judge each other, we evaluate each other. It is through thought that we have notions of our own worth, our own self-esteem, our own evaluation is through thought. I look at myself as a failure. I think all my colleagues have done well. I am lagging behind, or whatever way. 100 forms of comparison, and all through thought. A picture of myself is built and held so strong. And the Vedanta, the spiritual science here, asks us a fundamental question. Before such a thought was formed, what were you? Has this thought in you become so unquestionably true? Are you this thought? Are we a thought in ourselves? The I thought, a thought that describes ourselves, replaces the true I. Vedanta would say the true I is pure awareness, Om, and thought is a figure, a phantom figure that has appeared in the mind. And the true I, the Om, is then hidden from our own view. Therefore, while, yes, in the empirical world, in the transactional world, thoughts are necessary, once in a while we need to go to the root of the issue and ask ourselves, who am I other than thought? Who am I other than an emotion? Who am I other than a particular perception? Who am I other than the body, mind and intellect? Is our body, mind, intellect everything that is there to me? Or is there something beyond? We need to ask, not just out of speculative philosophical interest, but out of a sincere inquiry which aims at experiencing something deep within us. We shall try this every night in our final meditation session too. We shall try to, for a while, withdraw from this imaginative activity of the mind. There is a basic presumption of who I am, and then a whole lot of work goes on. We are going to shake that basic presumption itself of who I am. Nirashihi, without any desire. I would say that without any desire is meant to lead us to that state where there is no desirer. You see, desire follows a desirer. You are a batsman, let's say in a cricket match, you take the bat and go, and then you bat. You are a bowler, then you bowl. You are a writer, then you write. You are a speaker, then you speak. So the speaker, the writer, the bowler, the batsman, and so on, all of them precede speaking, writing, bowling, batting, and so on. In the same way, please ask yourself, is there some entity which first gets formed and then desires? Is there a desirer behind desire? Nirashihi literally means without desires, and on a deeper level, without forming the desirer itself. Desirer himself or herself is not formed. So, no desire, no desirer, then there is only awareness. And that is the Om. To stay as the awareness is time and again the ultimate in meditation. To be, just to be, not to become something conceptually. So because this actual becoming is the platform on which then there is pleasure, there is pain, there is success, there is failure. There is the whole drama of this worldly existence. And the platform is very quiet. The screen in a cinema show is so quiet, so peaceful. But we lose sight of the screen. Our attention is totally upon the pictures. And in the pictures, yes, there is all tears of joy, tears of sorrow, and so on. The spiritual pursuit is to give to us an insight into the screen. The unshakable, unchanging core in ourselves, we are that core. Every one of us is actually changeless, says the Vedanta. Deathless, birthless. Nothing happens to us ever. And if we were to gain this insight, it's not just for philosophical satisfaction. If this insight were to come to one truly, then life would become a sport. Or life would become a joke. Life would become a pretty game. Life would become a drama in which you continue to act, but you know that what happens to the role doesn't happen to you, the actor. Therefore, this realizing a changeless core, which at the moment you may take as a possibility, that's fine. If it is possible that there is a changeless core in you, and suppose you realize that core, it has this practical implication that you would be unaffected by the vicissitudes of life. Towards that, Lord Krishna makes this offer. Come on, for a change, be nirashi. You have planned enough, you have dreamt enough, you have visualized enough, you have fancied enough. For a change, stay back. What happens? Aparigraha. We get concerned about some property, some possession of ours. If I become so spiritual, I may lose my wealth, I may lose some object very dear to me, or even persons. Parigraha is whatever you have taken and made as yours. This is mine. You see, parigraha is from a deeper consideration, letting go of sense of mine. This is mine. There is the I, there is the me, and then there is the mine. This house is mine. This car is mine. These children are mine. This spouse, these friends, these good contacts, and whatever. Mine, mine, mine. That is parigraha. And really speaking, no sense of mine is very valid indeed. All ideas of mine are questionable anyhow. It's not that Vedanta wants to, just like that, put an idea into you. Look at what is yours for a while as not yours. But the fact is, there is nothing that really belongs to you. The so-called mine is only a relative concept. Therefore, great teachers like Mahatma Gandhi, social workers too they were, said to us that no property is yours. At best you are a trustee. Look at yourself as a trustee, not owner, and experience the relief, the psychological relief in yourself if you just gain this attitude in yourself. This house, this property, these relations, these positions are all entrusted to me. I am a trustee, not owner. Can be a tremendously different experience. Now, why stop? What does to be a trustee mean? To be a trustee means you are not the owner. Aparigraha. Nothing really is mine. I am dealing with things and I am playing a role. Nothing really is absolutely mine. Thus, the me is questioned, the mine is questioned, and thus the whole gamut of whatever thought has constructed is questioned. Shake the foundation of thought, and then you have the chance to experience the pure awareness. The pure awareness where you are aware, you are alert, you are alive. Meditation is not to take you to a state of dumbness, dullness. No. You are very alert, you are perceiving, but you are not conceiving. You are not conceptualizing. Your eyes are open, you see forms. Your ears are open, you hear sounds. Your other sense organs are active and you are perceiving. Your mind also is active. How? Not in the form of making a concept about yourself, but in the form of being receptive to any stimulus from outside. So, an active mind, active sense organs, but no conceptualization about yourself. You see, this mind is a concept. You go to a shop, pay some dollars, get an object, bring it home, and then you say, this is mine. The sense of mine came about. Does it have a deep validity? Suppose the police then come to your house and say, did you buy such an object in that shop? Yes. You see, that's a smuggled good and that cannot be bought. Please return it to the shop immediately. We'll arrange for the reimbursement. Oh, really? This is not a, let's say, legally saleable good. Oh, immediately your sense of this is mine goes away. The ideas of mine with respect to anything are very questionable really. But these ideas gain a certain firmness, certain solidity. Ideas of me, ideas of mine, and then evaluations over it, isn't it? Evaluation is based on what we have and what I am. But what I am and what I have are, really speaking, very questionable. The sense of me and sense of mine are questionable. And when we do question things which are questionable really, meditation takes place. then in the abandoning of the false I and the false mind, the true I shines forth. The true I is the quiet, receptive, open awareness. No bad in it, there is no good in it. Silence proper is beyond good and bad. So, most wonderful possibilities thus open up in this self-inquiry, which is the essence of meditation. Let us see Lord Krishna touching upon some secondary details now. We shall read the 11th verse now. Shuchau. Shuchau deshe pratishtapya Sthiramasanamaatmanah
Natyuchritam nati nicham
Natyuchritam nati nicham
Chailajina kushottaram
Chailajina kushottaram. Where should we sit? And how should our seat be? These are really some secondary details. For completeness of treatment of the topic, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says a few things about such matters too. Shuchau deshe. He is keeping in mind the old time context where people would go to a forest or a river side or some backyard somewhere and so on, hamish nature. Now also we could do it. Shuchau deshe, he cautions that the place be very, very clean. For in your haste, you might sit somewhere and all that you need for half an hour or 1 hour is warding of mosquitoes or worrying about something is crawling and stopped suddenly. Will he go back now or will he come near me? In a way, you don't anymore think about yourself. You are thinking, the ego is suspended for a while. You are meditating on the crawling ant probably, but your purpose is lost. Let the place clean. We need not dwell on this for too long really. A clean place where no distraction takes place, where you see you need not be concerned about either the security of the body or even the comfort of the body. Meditation belongs to mind, and the best thing that can be said about the body in the context of meditation is you forget the body. Do something whereby you forget the body. The next expression to Sthiram Asanam, it says, let the seat be very firm, not shaky. If the seat were shaky, if a passing train makes your seat to shake a little bit, as sometimes it happens even in buildings, maybe someone walking on the corridor also makes dub 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 sound and distraction. These are common sense really. Sthiram Asanam. I often say in my guided meditation sessions that posture, remain in that posture for as long as possible, and now forget your body. The best thing you need to do about the body is forget the body. Think about the theme of meditation. Overly body consciousness is an obstacle. So the place, the seat, and later he is going to say something about the physical posture too. Now, about the seat, he has this to say, na ati uchritam, na ati nicham. It should neither be too high nor too low. This also is in such context as people going to some forest area, and out of some fancy, if they sit in a pit, there might be some other creatures. If out of their, again, fantastic imagination, this is going to be something superb, and I'm going to sit on this, some pole or some kind of race. I once had this fancy, this happens. in Himachal Pradesh, where we have an ashram. It's a valley, and you have a lot of trees, a jungle, a forest-like area, and then a steep valley. There are houses and farms, etc. down there. And it looked so great. I went to the right edge of the whole place, and you have a grand view there. If you look down, you have beautiful villages there, all green, and I sat there. But within a minute, the Gita came to my mind really in terms of experience. I had fear. Suppose I feel sleepy and fall down. I had it. I'll break all my bones. So I could no more meditate, obviously. Because I am very concerned. In between I am opening and seeing, did I move a little ahead? I am seeing the angle of my body and so on. You see, the whole gist of this verse is, do not take such a seat, such a place, such a posture where time and again you need to be concerned about the body's safety, the body's comfort, and so on. Therefore, na ati uchritam, don't sit perched on some edge, and don't go to some pit or some deep area, which people are likely to do. Lord Krishna is teaching common sense, which many times is not common, as they say. And again, going by some old tradition, he says, Chailajina Kushottaram. This is literally a cloth, a deer skin, and a certain grass called as kusha. In olden days, that is how they formed a seat for meditation. First the kusha grass, that's the sequence. Then a deer skin, for some of these animal skins are supposed to be very good insulators. If the ground is very cold, you won't feel cold. So the seat warm. And then finally a cloth. However, this I would say is a secondary instruction, though it may have some marginal benefits. We are not totally dismissing these things. All these deer skin or tiger skin, many times pictures of great sages and saints are with a tiger skin and a tiger's head also in front. That's very typical, So we are familiar with some such pictures, and I for one do believe that such skins may have some benefit. Some scientific background also may be there in them, but definitely they are not so essential. They are all some non-essential let's say there are things in the circumference. They do contribute a little bit. Probably everything else being equal, somebody with the right seat and someone sitting on a plastic or a chair may have some differences. The man sitting in a Padmasana, maybe some lotus posture, some special yogic posture, may have some advantage. He or she may be able to stay longer, whereas someone sitting on some other kind of seat may not be able to stay so long. After some time, the body may develop some pain. A wonderful seat. Our focus, our attention would be more on the mental processes. That is the crux of the issue. It is like for nutrition, food is the main thing, and how you serve on a banana leaf, as some tradition goes, or on a silver plate, a copper plate, and so on. To quench your thirst, drink water. Whether it should be in a copper vessel, again a tradition in many houses, in old houses, it would be put in a copper vessel. And then some scientific explanations are also given. If you have kept water overnight in a copper vessel, people will, here and there you will hear to such things. It has so many therapeutic benefits. It can even prevent cancer. Some such statement would be made. And then you quote one of the universities who will go and verify. Stanford name may come. Scientists in Stanford checked They made some case studies. That much is enough. What they found that nobody needs to. Oh really, they took copper vessel and made somebody drink for 1 month water from the copper vessel, and such results came out, and so on. Things are happening these days. I for one do not dismiss possibilities of some marginal benefits, other factors being equal, whereas if other factors themselves are the areas for us now to work on, then we better not give undue importance to these matters. So as he is going to say later, you got to stay firm, you got to take a posture where you don't move, you don't need to move, you could forget the body and focus on the line of thinking which you are trying to strengthen in yourself. We read now the next verse where he comes to the mind.
Tatraikagram mana kritva
mana kritva
yata chittendriya kriyah upavishyasane yunjyad yogamatma vishuddhaye. Tatra, there, at such a place and on such a seat, ekagram manakritva. This is the thing to be underlined. The mind should be made one-pointed. The Sanskrit word ekagra means ekam agre yasya. Ekam, one. Agre, in front. When the mind has only one thing in front of it, the mind is thinking of just God or just the sound, maybe Om, or the mind is just trying to remain as the observer. One thought is observing another thought, and you become aware that I am observing. Who is saying I am observing? Oh, that itself is a thought. All right, be aware of that too. So exercise awareness deeper and deeper. Sometimes when you meditate, you recognize, today I am meditating well. The mind is cooperating. Now who is saying this? Oh, here is a thought that I am meditating well. Now who is aware of this thought that I am meditating well? That I am aware that I am meditating well? It becomes almost an infinite regress if you think like that. All right, go further. And as you become more and more watchful, you will see that that very watchfulness, that very becoming aware would slow down or would weaken that thought. Otherwise, that thought gathers more strength. Suppose you did not exercise attention to the thought, I am doing well. Then more thoughts, associated thoughts may come. Yeah, last 3 days I did not do like this. Today, how come? Maybe I slept well last night. Maybe I gave enough rest to myself. And, or maybe at last my sadhana is coming to some fruition. Maybe some calculation, some evaluation, some judgment, it is building up. But please see, if you become aware, hey, I started judging myself. Instead of enjoying the quietude without a single comment, I am making comments now. You become aware of it, the comments become lesser and lesser. And then you say, comments are becoming lesser. Who is saying that? Again. So, the exercise of attention over our own mind is a wonderful game. It's a wonderful thing that you can play. And not only in formal sittings in morning or in the evening, at any time, right now also, you could exercise greater attention, and then you could see that your mind on one hand is listening to the lecture, on the other something for tomorrow, on the other thinking about something yesterday, And so many things it is doing. If you are paying attention, it will reduce. It is really, this mind is a great mischief maker. It will go here and there. But just keep an eye on the mind, it won't do. It's like that. If there is a watch, then it won't do like that. Lord Krishna says, Ekagram mana krutva. This exercising one-pointedness is a very tricky affair. Having only one thing. The exercise of attention. Suppose sitting here right now, one of you, let us say for the sake of cooking up an example, suddenly becomes aware of somebody sitting maybe to your side, and he or she has something very attractive about them. Maybe a very shining ornament somebody is wearing, and you become aware. To even spiritual discourses they wear ornaments like this, and a thought comes like that. Now you say, that's none of my business, and I want to listen to this discourse. And you say, I should not think about the ornament she is wearing, and so on. If you decide, I should not think, the mind seems to go more towards it. You try to pluck your mind by force, by deciding, it doesn't seem to work at all. Sometimes the fighting with the mind seems to lend strength to the mind. Whereas you say, it's all right, then the mind doesn't go there. You let go of the mind's, let's say, you let the mind do whatever, you say it's okay, then the mind keeps quiet. It's a very tricky thing, this fight with this thought or that thought is very hard indeed. So, on lower levels we say, remove the thought, send away the thought. But really, on higher levels, we say, observe that thought. Don't say anything, don't do anything. Oh, my mind is thinking about the ornament on her neck. All right. Don't complain. Just be aware. It is as though the mind then becomes ashamed of itself and doesn't go there. You have only taken note of. Many times that is so with handling people also, isn't it? When you say, don't do that, they get more angry. If you say, don't do that, I will do it with an extra will. Whereas you recognize, you are aware, and the person knows that you are aware. And if it is wrong really, and all that you have done is to let him know that you are aware of it, the person himself feels ashamed after some time. What is this? I am harming myself, I am harming others. So in what we may call in the Gita's language a sattvic handling, sattvic, softer handling, more mature handling, we find that to do the least is to achieve the most. With least effort, you achieve maximum there. Of course, you have built a bridge of understanding. If it is human relationship between you and the other, there is a bridge of understanding, and then it's not shouting, it's not noise, it's not condemning, but it is certain, if I may use a figurative language, certain loving vibrations you send towards the other person, and the other person takes the hint. In the same way, ekagram mana krutva, how do you make your mind one-pointed? Love your mind, accept your mind, take your mind as your own friend. And even as in this example, the mind thinks about somebody's ornament or something else, you smile at your own mind, it comes around. The mind, when taken as a friend, behaves far better than when taken as an enemy to be fought against, and so on. Ekagram mana krutva, a very simple expression, make your mind single-pointed. How? The question how looms large upon us, very hard indeed. Yata chittendriya kriyaha. No wonder large number of spiritual aspirants just again and again fall, fail, again and again stumble. They are not able to really progress, for the techniques they adopt are very immature, very gross, and instead of solving the inner conflicts, it leads to more fire, more thunder, more agitation within themselves. I repeat once more, there is nothing like loving oneself. There is nothing like accepting oneself. There is nothing like calmly observing one's own mind, which brings about inner transformation. If you fret and fume, you are disturbing it further. Observe your mind, and if it is going here and there, look at it and say, all right, and then it comes around much better. Try that. We will try that in our guided meditation at the end too. Yata chitta indriya kriyaha. In that quiet and calm observation, even physical habits, the bodily habits too, indriya, habits on the plane of sense organs too, all of them can be better managed. Chitta, mind, indriya, sense organs and organs of action, and kriya, the activities thereof, are the obstacle with us, are the challenges that we face. We want to be different, but we are doing the same way as we did yesterday, as we did day before. It just repeats and it's frustrating to us. When will we progress? And the Hindus even think about several lives. I don't think in this life I would progress at all. In this life I have come to know that there is something called Geeta. That is my achievement. Sometimes people humorously say that with some pain also, I am sure, in the heart. We are not progressing, so on. No frustration. Later Lord Krishna is going to say, Anirvinna chetasa, there is an expression, with no negative thought being permitted in yourself. While yes, there is a long way to go, yet you need not be depressed about it. Anirvinna chetasa. Don't be depressed about it. Yes, you have a long way to go. There are so many loose ends to be tied in me, in my personality. So, if you feel depressed, some more ends will get loose. No. There may be a very long way to go. The key is be calm and walk. One more step, one more step. That is so in outer ventures, and that is so in this inner venture too. As the Chinese saying goes, journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So put one step, then one more step, and so on. See, these expressions need to be really thought over. How do you control the habits, bodily, mentally, and so on? If you deal with it in a rash, in a hasty manner, it will get worse, surely enough. You ought to really slow down and achieve more. Upavishya asane yunjat, sitting on the seat as described in the earlier verse, yogam yunjat. One should practice yoga, and here in this verse Sri Krishna says, for what? Why should we meditate? One of the simple expressions he uses is Atma Vishuddhaye, for purification. We dealt with this before in the introductory remarks in this lecture. It is an inner expansion. Impurities are to go away. Misconceived divisions, misconceived disharmony. All negativities are misconceptions only. If right understanding is there, there is nobody in this world whom we ought to hate. All are acceptable. However, if at this moment there is some difficulty in liking somebody, in loving somebody, in accepting somebody, and difficulty in accepting ourselves, I would repeat that again and again. There is difficulty in accepting others and there is difficulty in accepting ourselves. Why do we look down at ourselves so often? Why do we feel depressed about ourselves? I am no good. Somehow or the other, I have these defects, I have these shortcomings. I am unworthy. Everybody, even the most eminent ones also, most successful, those in limelight in this society also have thoughts like that. Non-acceptance of oneself. If there is one person who accepts oneself totally, that is an enlightened soul. And you know why he or she accepts himself totally? There is no me at all there. As long as the thought construction is there, an I, which is a construction of thought, it will never be acceptable. As long as there is a me, a relative me, a limited me, a finite me, a me that partakes or that participates in comparison, it will not be accepted in toto. There would be at least some dissatisfaction about it. But if thought itself dissolves, then we need to accept anything. In silence, everything is accepted. And one dramatic demonstration of this every day is what happens in deep sleep. When you are fast asleep, you may say, that is not a good example. But it is true, at least partially, that when you are fast asleep, you are fully accepting yourself. You don't have a trace of complaint about yourself. Others may have about your snoring. But you have no complaint whatsoever. You are in such full self-acceptance and you have no complaint about others too. Total self-acceptance and total acceptance of others is experienced by every one of us during deep, dreamless sleep. And one wonders why there is difficulty in this matter when we are awake. The Vedanta would say the difficulty is in thought. It is judgments. It is notions. It is evaluations. It is the labels. You put labels on others, you put labels on yourself and then suffer. It is these labels. Why does our thinking proceed, go out like that and put labels? Why does our thinking lose its freshness, lose its newness? And why don't we see others with fresh eyes? Why don't we see ourselves with fresh eyes, with childlike eyes, with open eyes, with to make it more precise, with no shadow of some past event? It's so hard for us. The shadow of the past somehow colors our present vision. Others are viewed in terms of what he or she said yesterday, and myself also am viewed by myself in terms of how I lost yesterday or what I gained yesterday. So the yesterday throws its or casts its shadow upon today. So in the Atma Vishuddhi, what Lord Krishna is describing as inner purification, we achieve this elimination of the influence of the past. If needed, it is recalled. Not that the past is totally forgotten, if needed. But presently what is happening is, whether needed or not, it is chattering. The mind is chattering. Mind is continuously bringing some past event. And you are on a vacation and you have made all plans to enjoy the vacation fully. I don't want to think. I have gone from west to the east coast, to Florida, on the beach there. You not only think about what happened last week at your workplace, you also plan for what you will do as soon as you get back. The first thing I am going to do, you tell your spouse to, dear, first thing I am going to do when I get back is I'm going to tell my boss. This is not the way we need to work. And your dear says, dear, we decided to forget California. That's why we came to Florida. Oh, sorry. And so on. Yes, okay. How nice these waves are. And so on. But waves of memory rise inside as the waves on the ocean, maybe where you are sitting, are rising out there. Why does that happen? That is ashuddhi. You see? That is impurity of the mind. Its inability to free itself from various memories, especially where it is absolutely not needed. Why should you remember at all? All away in Florida about what happened at work last week, but mind remembers. But a pure mind, a saintly mind, this Vishuddha Manaha, has no such difficulty. It recalls when needed. So you see great people, great saints, etc., dealing with lot of situations, and when they are dealing with it, they draw forth all memory. At other time, they are totally out of it too. And there is a beauty about such a mind, which gets into matter when needed, which gets out of matter when needed, and it's a beautiful mind. That is the pure mind. So the Lord now says a little bit about how we should keep the body. This is for formal meditation. Please read 13. Samam khaya shiro grivam dharayanna chalam stiraha
samprekshya nasikagram svam
samprekshya nasikagram svam dishaschanavalokayan. A little more common sense really in this 13th verse. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayan. Lord Krishna says in very simple terms, keep your body straight. Kaya is the trunk, shiraha the head, and griva neck. Head, neck in one straight line. Sama here means in one straight line. And according to this verse, you could be on chair or you could be on ground, you could squat or you could sit up, anywhere, for he is talking about the trunk, the neck and the head. Special asanas, as we said before, may have some marginal benefit, especially on Jnana Marga, on the path of Vedantic self-inquiry. The sitting posture, etc. is not very important at all, how exactly you sit. But in what is called Raja Yoga, Hatha Yoga, you see, in those paths, less of inquiry, but more help from certain exercises on the physical and on the plane of breathing are the main features. You see, in Yoga Marga, that is Raja Yoga or Yoga, etc., a lot of help is drawn from related components of our personality, associated, secondary components. They are all related. Breath and mind are related. On the path of knowledge, you try to handle the mind by the mind itself. On the path of Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, you try to handle the mind with the help of the breath, with the help of the physical body, various yogasanas. So it is going a little roundabout. But once you have said, I am going to attack, if I use a martial language again, I am going to attack my enemy, roundabout, I will catch hold of his supports, whoever is supporting him, I will finish them first, and so on. Yes, that is one way to deal with this situation too. If you have taken that approach, then you better be very serious and sincere about it. So if you are for Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, then my liberal interpretation, this is common sense or this is not very important, doesn't apply. But my interpretations here in these 5 days are very much on the path of knowledge. Vedanta is the path of knowledge. I am not going by Bhakti Marga also. I am hardly mentioning the name of God, hardly bringing to your minds any picture of the great ruler, the Lord, the compassionate one, surrender to Him. We are all puppets and He is the puppeteer, or some ideas which are all very true. Yoga is true, Bhakti is true, and Karma is true, and Jnana also is true. Let me say here that we are employing the approach of Jnana Marga, the path of knowledge primarily, and each of these paths has then subdivisions, and I perhaps am focusing more on what is called as self-inquiry, Atma Vichara, the who am I, trying to face the ego directly. You could do some pranayama, you see, breathing exercises, very valid, very helpful too. For breathing and thinking are interconnected. But we are approaching the whole topic from a more direct point of view. Directly, let us see what this ego is. And if we are ready to see what this ego is in direct terms, then we are not spending much time on accessories. So, here we say, sitting straight, samam kaya shiro grivam, achalam, without any chalana, without any movement. No movement. As I said before, that is another distraction. If you move, either a movement just to feel more comfortable, or you have some movements to go with something you are chanting, something you are reciting, which also could be sometimes the case. You perhaps have chosen some stanza for meditation. One of the popular ones you see I often quote is Mano Buddhi Ahankara, and these have some musical value too. Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chitta Ninaham Nacha Shrotra Jihve Nacha Grana Netre Nacha Vyoma Bhumir Natejo Navayuhu Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham, Shivoham. If you move with that, you feel tempted to move. If you are using, Lord says, oh wait, not for music, not for melody, not for any other joy. In Jnana Marga, you need to go for the meaning. What does this stanza which has mean? I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not any of the sense organs. As perceptions are taking place, as emotions rise and fall, as intellections are taking place, I am not a party to any of these. They are there, fine, but I am Chidananda. Chit is pure awareness. I am the awareness. I am the observer. I am the witness in which or in whom nothing is happening. So to appreciate such a inner truth is what needs to be done. And if I am carried away by the music and then tell my friends also, today it was so nice, swinging meditation I had. Singing and swinging. If you say, well, it's good, you enjoyed, you seem to be calm and you seem to be happy, so that's okay. But that is not what real meditation is. Whereas instead of all that, if you had more alertness and you observed some more contradictions in yourself or some more subtle attachments in yourself, if you observed, you came face to face with some lurking fears in yourself. And through that quiet observation, those fears, those attachments became weaker. Those forms of selfishness became weaker. That is a far more significant gain. That weakening of, possibly elimination too, a certain selfish tendency, a certain I, me, and pushing the I, me, and my, certain tendency to demand something from somebody while I am not ready to give, asking for something and so on. If that tendency were exposed in quiet self-observation, and you say, hey, yeah, what am I? This you need not verbalize like this. To explain, I am verbalizing it, I am putting it in words. But in your quiet observation, you saw some unnecessarily rigid stands that you are taking in day-to-day life, and that seeing the rigidity and seeing that it is meaningless to be so rigid, I am making a mountain out of a molehill. I am making a big issue of something which actually doesn't matter, and so on. That seeing eliminates that rigidity, and then you interact, you are out into the world, and your whole perception, your whole response to situations would have a different quality. Whereas if you enjoy the music, that is like drinking some Pepsi. You drink Pepsi also, you feel good, but that doesn't change you deep within you. So for deep inner change, what is required is not any enjoyment on the plane of senses or on the emotions, but something deeper. So achalam, don't move, don't swing, don't get extra conscious about the bodily comfort. As he said before, initially itself take care that you are on a comfortable, safe, secure seat, no shaking, no moving, and then could you please pay all attention to the ego and its behavior, the conditioned I and its movements. So the Lord is saying, Sampreksha nasikagram. Second line, seeing the tip of the nose. Literally, if you take. Even traditional commentators like Adi Shankaracharya himself have said that this is indicative of a general instruction. The general instruction being, let your vision not waver, or let me say, let there be no movement of the eyes, or even mentally also let there be no wandering. Specifically, if you take it, it means tip of the nose. So with eyes closed or eyes open, see the tip of the nose. But that is more representative. It could be tip of the nose. Tip again, which is tip of the nose? That's another question. This is the tip, or is it the midpoint of the eyebrows, or is it down below? That's another question. Doesn't matter. Whether it's the tip of the nose, upper or lower, or some point up on the forehead, and there are some people who try to mentally fix their attention on the heart center, or some people imagine a lotus up on the head, whatever, wherever. The idea is, let there be no movement of either eyes, the eyeballs, or even the mind. For even as we are sitting, isn't it true, mentally I could think of something behind me, then could think of where is that sound coming from, and so on. My attention went there. So attention, mental attention could move around. All that the Lord is asking us to do, saying, Sampreksha nasikagram, is don't go here and there. And he himself clarifies that by the next expression, Dishascha anavalokayan. Avalokyan means seeing, anavalokayan, not seeing or not going into various directions. Be focused. In fact, to be focused is not again any strenuous concentration here. It is a very different form of focus. It is no wandering and at the same time no concentration. It is maintaining a state of openness. A state of open. Deliberately you are not looking around. You are not drawn towards anything. You are not pulled or pushed by anything. But that doesn't mean that you have chosen a point and with a certain exclusiveness you are focused there. You see, in concentration there is exclusiveness. In higher forms of meditation it is no more concentration. Concentration is a lower form of meditation. It's helpful. You see, let me put it this way. From a mind that thinks about 100 things, it's very helpful indeed to practice some concentration and bring the mind to one thing. But then, in the higher form of meditation, it is not to fix the mind somewhere, nail the mind down somewhere. No. We want to go beyond the mind. We want to see the mind, see activity, see its, its formation, and we want to let go of that formation. We want to let go of thought itself. In concentration, you have chosen a thought and you are clinging to that thought. You are remaining with that thought. Ask yourself, though this may be an advanced topic, but even a beginner can appreciate if you are attentive. Ask yourself this question: is all meditation then meant to nail ourselves to one thought? That cannot be surely freedom. Freedom cannot be just sticking to one thought. So from many thoughts, yes, you could come to one thought. It can be a helpful exercise, and then it should be letting go of all thoughts. Freedom has to be an availability for everything, but not getting carried away by anything. A free person can go anywhere. That doesn't mean that he will go anywhere. In the same way, this inner freedom is a total openness. So, dishascha anavalokayan. So let us not fix ourselves anywhere, but at the same time, let us not pursue various things, different directions. One more verse we shall see quickly. 14. Prashantatma vigatabhihi Brahmachari vrate stitaha Manasanyamya machittaha Yukta asita matparaha. Prashantatma. We shall see the basic meanings today. With a calm mind. Refusing to get agitated, refusing to worry. Sometimes the worry that meditation is not taking place properly. If you worry about, I am not meditating well, then that is to further defeat meditation. No, as I said before, accept yourself as you are. If the mind is wandering all over, watch that mind. Oh, okay. Going all around today, fine. Prashantatma. Vigata bhihi, fearless. We shall go into what fear is tomorrow in greater detail. Fear is a very interesting topic indeed. Vigata bhihi, fearless. Brahmachari vrate stitaha, exercising great self-control. Brahmachari, it has very, very crude meanings as celibacy, abstinence from sexual activity and so on. However, in the present context, it is a certain spirit, certain attitude that you have in yourself. As the word goes, Brahmachari is Brahmani Charati. You look at yourself as Brahman, as awareness, as the spirit. Let alone a particular activity and then the issues of going for it or not going for it, etc., etc. You inquire into the actor himself. You inquire into the ego's status itself. This is a very profound word. In this verse there are several profound words that way. Manas Sanyamya. Thus, from activity you go to the level of the actor and go further deeper and restrain the mind. By saying restraining the mind, I mean withdrawing from the formations the mind otherwise takes. So go back from formation to the state where such formation was not there. It is the pure awareness, manas sanyamya macchittaha, staying in me. And here when Lord says me, it is the pure awareness only. Lord is pure awareness. You see, if on the path of knowledge, God is no other than the pure awareness, the Om. So macchittaha is Om chittaha. Chitta is mind. Mind fixed in Om. Yukta asita matparaha. One should stay united and one should stay focused on me, which again is Brahman. So very valuable, very mind-blowing pointers are being given. We shall examine them again tomorrow. Let us see if there are a couple of questions for the present, and we'll end later with a brief guided meditation. Are there a question or two? Yes, you could use this microphone.
Okay, I've heard about the Vipassana meditation technique. Could you shed some light on that? And maybe you can tell us how it differs from what we have been learning from last 2 days.
No. I have not much knowledge about Vipassana meditation, though I have heard about Vipassana from people who have participated in those Vipassana camps. As I have understood, in Vipassana, directly, right away, one is led to slowing down, talking less, and observing breathing, observing one's own body, go for a walk and be aware, exercising mindfulness, and probably taking very moderate amount of food, and so on and so forth, which is very close to what we are talking about. There is a distinction. Here, I have been saying, there is a lot of inquiry into the nature of the ego. There is a lot of inquiry into the psychological constructions, and in Vedanta there is a support of a philosophy, and in Vipassana they have more or less dispensed with philosophy, or they have cut it down to such a small extent. I see that in the name of practical processes, people sometimes cut down theory a lot, and it seems to me that Vipassana is one such area. They almost dispense with study. Last night I had said, from the Vedantic perspective, meditation is what follows Shravanana, study and reflection. In Vipassana and even in transcendental Otherwise, though the statements are true, people may not get the right idea. So, okay, let me summarize my answer this way. Vipassana is attempting what I am saying without a lot of philosophical basis. Whereas in Vedanta, you build a beautiful system, the intellect is given a number of exercises, and against the backdrop of many concepts, many terms, many charts, etc., slowly the ego itself is cornered. There is this distinction of amount of philosophical support involved. There they have tried to minimize, which is, I very much doubt whether it really works. Yeah. Does that mic work?
You brought in the word transcendental meditation in your answer already. In the West, seems to, these days it seems to be a thing in vogue. People do practice, and it seems to be medically accepted also in some states. I think it's a valid, accepted.
Yeah, TM has become medically acceptable.
So what's your comment on that?
Surely, why not? Because the medical science would look at some physiological changes, some benefits for the body, for maybe emotional level, and so on. And TM, which begins at least as repeating a mantra, a sound is given, and one repeats the sound and withdraws one's attention from other things. And they say it's not concentration because they say that there is no tension involved, there is no effort involved, but whatever. It is focusing attention on a sound to begin with, and yes, why not? It is definitely giving to people many benefits, but again, TM also would suffer the limitations of one certain reduction of thoughts, reduction of let's say wandering in one's mind, and maybe it may give some better health and so on, but basic identifications will not be shaken by mere TM. Somewhere philosophy has to come in. You see, the illusoriness of the I in us is very hard for most people to see. The I in us, you see, all of us have some ideas. I am such and such, I am so and so. That sense of I, Vedanta says the sense of I is a myth. It's not. There is no limited I at all. You are pure awareness. And TM also is, at least to begin with, is an oversimplified technique. And this illusoriness of the ego is not so easy to grasp by some techniques. That requires a very profound inquiry. So I would say TM gives concentration, TM gives some kind of order in one's mind, but it doesn't destroy the basic false notion. The ego is not destroyed. The ego may get purified, ego may become a healthy ego, may be a more efficient ego, and so on. And nothing prevents them from bringing in Vedanta at some point of time. Perhaps they do it. Vedanta is something to do with seeing that the ego is a myth. You don't find it in TM, and in Vipassana perhaps they say it, but I wonder how those people who participate in those camps will understand it. It will be hard for them to understand. Buddha taught that the ego, ahankara, is false. They said, they propose shunyavada and so on. So all these TM etc. probably are, you see, taking a part
of the total scheme and highlighting it, presuming that other parts are not so necessary, where it becomes questionable. The build-up, the basics, the terminology, various models, structures, they presume they are not necessary, they are a waste of time. Even the Ramana's inquiry, though I myself am such an admirer of Ramana Maharshi, I have finally come to see that the who am I inquiry, suppose is taught to somebody without Vedantic background, they are not able to do much out of it. They just get stuck. Whereas the same person has studied some Vedantic texts, Atma Bodha, Viveka Chudamani, some Upanishads, and so on. With that background, they come back to who am I inquiry of Ramana Maharshi. It makes wonderful sense. So, Vedanta provides the philosophical basis to varying extents. Everybody may not need so much scholarship as some. Somebody like me maybe has some taste for reading books and so on. So I might have read 100 books. Now, everybody may not have to read 100 books. But some books, some preliminaries have to be sorted out before going to those very, very fundamental questions. Who am I? Otherwise the question who am I will not make much sense. It will look like it will become very mechanical. One shuts the eyes and says, who am I? Who am I? And it becomes very mechanical. So let's for a while practice meditation tonight again. Lord Krishna has made matters simple for us tonight, saying all that we need to do is to sit straight, samam kaya shiro grivam, head, neck and trunk in one line, or to put it in other words, the backbone erect, let's not have any tension anywhere, no tension physically, no tension mentally. However, may we have attention. Be aware of your surroundings, but do not pursue any particular sensation or perception. You hear a sound, there is nothing wrong with it, but habitually you start thinking about that sound, that is surely not necessary. Be aware of your body, be aware of your breathing, be aware of your thought. By saying be aware, I am asking you not to generate anything, nor to suppress anything. Be aware of what is there, or Be aware of your reactions to an external noise. Be aware of your secondary thoughts as one thought arises. What do you build up further? Take notice of how a building up of thoughts takes place. As you quietly observe the building up process, you will see the building up stops. In just a little bit of more of this self-observation, I would ask you to become aware of any self-judgment at this moment. Be aware of any judgment that you are making of yourself. Are you complaining about yourself? You did not spend the day well. Are you afraid of not being able to think? So, is there any thought like, I didn't do well, I may not do well, or I am competent, I am capable? So around this thing called I, are there thoughts being constructed around this thing called I? Please take note of such thoughts. You don't have to suppress them, but notice them. Notice any thought which has something to do with the sense of. For just 2 minutes I shall be silent now. Let us all keep an eye on this I thought formation. I am competent or I am incompetent, I am old or I am young, and so on. If such thoughts are not formed at all, while you are awake, you are alert, you are not asleep, but these thoughts are not formed, then who are you? who are you or what is your nature when the I thought is not formed. Rather than giving a philosophical answer, what you need to do is observe the I thought formation, and in watching how the thought is forming up, let the construction be dismantled, let the construction be undone, and may you discover who you are when thought has subsided. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.